So I fixed a little review before you do your quiz today. Alright, your first set of problems on the quiz are like this. Find the measure of each angle indicated, round to the nearest tenth. Here, instead of putting X or Y, they put this symbol called theta, but this is the angle they're looking for, also called angle A here. So when you see this symbol, then you know that's what they want. Okay, so here's our missing angle. We're going to first label the sides with respect to this angle right here. Of course, the two sides that make the right angle are the legs, so this side must be the hypotenuse. And then opposite the angle we're using or looking for is the side opposite. So here's the opposite side here, so this must be adjacent. We need to know the two sides for the fraction, so we know this side, the adjacent side, is 12 and the hypotenuse is 13. The trig function that uses these two is cosine. So since we're looking for the angle, we're going to use the inverse cosine and then set up these two sides in there. It is adjacent, which is 12, over the hypotenuse. And this will equal the angle we're looking for. So we just have to put that into the calculator. Whoops. And I did it here with this one. Inverse cosine, of course, you hit the second button and then the cosine button. You get that cosine, and it looks like a -1 power means inverse. And then 12 divided by 13. And we're going to round these answers to the nearest tenth, it says. So this rounds to 22.6. Since the next number is 1, we leave it at 6. We don't round it up to 22.7. So 22.6. Forgot to tell you to pause these videos if you knew how to do them and try them. So in the next problem, if you think you know how to set this up and solve for what this type of problem is, find the measure of each side indicated. So this one we're going to be solving for X. If you think you can set this up and solve it, go ahead and do that. Pause the video and then check your answer. If not, you need a little help, let it run. So again, the first step in these is to label the sides with respect to the angle you're going to use. We're going to use this 37-degree angle right here. So again, I mark these sides right here. These are the legs that make the right angle right here. So that makes this the hypotenuse. These are the two legs. The leg opposite this 37 is over here. So this makes this the adjacent side. So we need to use two sides for our fraction again, our ratio. One is the one we're looking for, X, which is the hypotenuse. And one we know, the adjacent side. So again, adjacent and hypotenuse, that makes cosine. So we're looking for a side, so we're using the regular trig function, not the inverse. That's for angles. So the cosine of what? The angle now, not the ratio. The ratio is on the other side of the equation this time. So the angle is 37 degrees equals the side adjacent, which was 11, over this hypotenuse. And of course, we set this up as a proportion, put this over 1 and cross multiply. So we're going to have the X times the cosine of 37, which we write like that. The other cross product is 1 times 11, which is 11. To get X by itself, we're going to divide both sides by the cosine of 37. Over here, it'll cancel out and leave us X, which is what we want here. And our answer comes from taking 11 divided by the cosine of 37 degrees. And you should get on your calculator, you should practice that. Rounded to the nearest tenth, I got 13.8. Okay, so that's the second type of problem you can do on the quiz. The last type, again, you can pause if you want to try and do this before me and check your answers. Or watch through it and see if you have any questions for me later. So this last type is solve each triangle, which means find every missing side and missing angle that you don't know. Okay. So first I look at the angles. I know this, here's the 90-degree angle. Angle C is 90 degrees. Angle B here is 62, so the only one angle we need is A. The missing sides, we've got the side CA, we know it's 22.6. We got to find these other two sides, BA or AB, and BC over here. So I'll solve for, it's easy to solve for the third angle in a triangle if you know two of them. This is 90 and 62. Is to subtract those two you know from 180 and see what's left. So angle A will equal 180 minus the two we know, the 90 degree and the 62 degree. Don't have to use any trig for this when you know two angles. And that equals 28 degrees. So we found the one missing angle. We'll work on the other missing sides. So let's see. I'm going to label these two sides with X and Y. I'll call this side X. I'll be solving for X. This side AB will be X. We'll see what it equals in a minute. And this side BC, we'll call it Y for right now. So we'll figure out BC equals Y, and we'll see what that comes out to be. So let's start with X. First, I'm gonna go ahead and use this angle we know right here. So I'll label the sides with respect to it. This side and this side make up the right angle. So I know those are the legs, so the hypotenuse is over here on this X side. Opposite this angle is which side? This side over here. So we'll make that the opposite. So the last side is the adjacent, this Y side. So to set up an equation for X, I got to use the hypotenuse and this one we know over here, opposite. The trig function that uses opposite and hypotenuse is sine. And again, it's the regular trig function since we're looking for sides, not angles. And we put in the angle measure, which the one we're using is the 62 degrees. And it equals opposite, which is 22.6, over hypotenuse, which is X. So we set up a proportion. I'll put this over 1 and cross multiply. Here's one of the cross products, X times the sine of 62. The other one is 1 times 22.6, which is 22.6. Now to cancel out the sine of 62 and get X by itself, we divide by the sine of 62. Over here it just cancels out. And we get X. And over here we're just going to divide this out. 22.6 divided by the sine of 62 degrees. Rounded to the nearest tenth, I got 25.6. And we go ahead and look at our Y side. We're going to solve it. I'm going to use the adjacent side because it is Y. And go ahead and use this side opposite also since it was exactly 22.6, not rounded like this number. And so that side trig function that uses these two is tangent. Again, we're solving for a side, so we use a regular tangent, not the inverse. We put in the angle, which is the same angle we used for the first one, 62 degrees. And it is opposite over adjacent. We'll go ahead and set it up as a proportion. So now we go ahead and cross multiply. Take Y times the tangent of 62 degrees on one side. The other cross product is 1 times 22.6. All right, we need to cancel out this tangent of 62 to get Y by itself, so we'll divide both sides by the tangent of 62. And that goes away. We get Y equals 22.6 divided by the tangent of 62 and rounded to the nearest tenth. I got 12.0. So there's a few reviews before you do your quiz. Good luck with it.